In this video, I want to share with you guys a couple of the final steps that I do before I actually officially finish detailing the car. Now let's get straight into it. What's going on? So glad you guys are here and welcome back to the Wilson Auto Detailing community. If you are a professional auto detailer who wants to become more successful and profitable in your business, or just a car enthusiast who wants to improve your detailing ability, then definitely consider hitting that big red subscribe button right below this video. So I've been on location all morning detailing this big white Tahoe, and I'm actually finished detailing it now, but I want to show you guys a couple of the kind of more intricate detailed things that I do before I actually officially start packing up all of my things and actually start getting payment and all that sort of stuff. There are a couple things and a couple areas that I treat that don't necessarily have to be treated, but that I think give a level 10 service. And so let's go ahead and look at the first one. So these running boards down here that are on a lot of trucks or SUVs, especially Tahoes and Suburbans and Sequoias that help you actually step up into the car, they often fade very, very quickly because they're black trim, they're that black porous trim. So when you're detailing, a lot of times they look very ununiform. They can have just kind of an odd appearance, and even though you've cleaned them, they still kind of have that weird ununiform appearance, and it's not necessarily your fault, they're faded or whatever. But when my customer is not actually paying for them to be restored, of course I'm not going to go into the time and effort and money that it takes to restore the black trim. There is still a couple things that I can do in order to improve it at a pretty dramatic level and protect it from here on out. So rather than just leaving this clean, which I totally could do, I've scrubbed it already, scrubbed it with some all-purpose cleaner, a wheel brush, so soft bristles, hosed it off, and it's definitely clean. But rather than just leaving it clean, I'm going to take some Meguiar's Synthetic Express spray wax and spray it all over the running board and then just kind of work it in. Now this strategy does not work every time, because a lot of times with trim that is extremely faded, it's just going to have the same appearance that it did before, because the Meguiar's X-Wax doesn't actually restore anything or necessarily deepen the black look. It just kind of protects. And so in this case, because of the nature of the beast and the condition of this specific black trim, the Meguiar's X-Wax would work just fine. So now, rather than just having a clean running board and clean black trim that's kind of splotchy and spotty and even had a little, you know, a couple like freckles from the tire shine on it, now it's a much more uniform appearance. You guys can see, though it's not 100% perfect because it has to be restored, it's dramatically better, and it's just one of those things that takes such little time and is going to help the black trim not just last longer, but it does just give the entire overall look of the car a much better kind of visual appeal, and especially first impression, because you're dressing these things that are fairly obvious. Now the next thing that I'm going to address are these front grills here. So this is a chrome grill, and of course, as I talk about in many of my videos, it's difficult to get brushes in there, it's difficult to get your fingers and microfiber towels in there to clean it all. And so the strategy that normally I take with these is simply taking like a long boar's hair brush to these with some all-purpose cleaner and then hosing it off and really just letting it air dry. But the problem is when you let it air dry and you get really close up in here, no, there's not a lot of water spots or anything, but there is just kind of settled dust and it's not very shiny. And so is my customer going to get up here and look at it and inspect it and say, why didn't you do this? No, they're not. But because I want to give that level 10 service and I don't want to kind of cop out with anything, I want to make sure that this is brought to perfection as well. And then not only up here, but also down here we have black trim pieces, same thing on the other side as well. And I want to make sure that even though somebody's probably not going to get down here and look at it, this is something that I like to address before I officially finish detailing the car. So what I'm going to use is a product by Showcar. It's called Ultra Shine Detail Spray, and technically this is an interior dedicated product, but it works very well on these chrome pieces on the exterior. And so I'm just going to dress the whole thing with this here. So now you guys can see, and I don't know how well it actually shows up in the camera, if there's a huge dramatic difference in the camera, but I'll try to get close in here. You guys can see the dust that settles kind of gets blown out, and then there's this kind of like shiny sacrificial barrier on the chrome pieces, kind of like tire shine protects the underlying rubber. This is kind of something that's very easily to washed off, and then the next time I come to detail this vehicle, now that this kind of protective layer is on there, the bugs come off much easier, the dust comes off much easier, all that sort of thing, and it just looks very very, very shiny now, and so it looks just totally waxed. And so I'll try to get a different angle so you guys can see. And then also, of course, down here, this black trim, though probably never going to be seen, that's dressed as well. And of course, this is all about the details. Now, the very last thing I do before I actually pack up all of my things and start talking to the customer is I leave a little kind of gift in here so you guys can see. This is my business card wrapped or kind of in the pocket of a wrapped up microfiber towel and 2 little Lifesaver mints. Now, why do I do that? Because this is one of those things that's like, no, it's not necessary, but it's one of those things that kind of pushes people over the edge. So not only is the car just incredibly clean, and yes, it's a very intensive detail, it's what I would consider better than the other guys in this area, then you step in and you see this on top of all that, and it's like, oh my gosh, man, this is an awesome service. And I'm always thinking about things, how can I do a step up? How can I add something else with little time, little effort, but just those small things that kind of push everything over the edge? And this is one of those things. So it's just kind of one of those free little gift things. I actually order these microfiber towels. They're pretty cheap. They're just kind of dusting towels. I order about 50 to 100 of them at a time on Amazon. Very, very inexpensive, like 20 bucks for the whole thing. Obviously the mints are very expensive. And then I just put my business cards right there, and it's one of those things that's just like, man, this is so awesome. So now, just so you guys can have kind of a final look, I'll take you around the whole car so you guys can see what it looks like. And this is a fairly new vehicle, so it is in super good condition. Didn't take a ton of effort or a ton of time, but this is one of those vehicles that is getting maintained from the get-go, and so is going to be maintained throughout its life and look pretty much just like this at all levels. You guys can see the wheel wells are done, tires, wheels are done, these little running boards, all that sort of stuff. So if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, hook up all that stuff in the YouTube comments below, because I always read those, and I'm sure to get back to you guys as fast as I can. And if you're new to the Wilson Auto Detailing community, then definitely consider subscribing, because I come out with videos all the time just like this on product tools, strategies, communication skills, business skills, and so much more, all in an effort to help the pro detailers become more successful and profitable in their businesses. And I share the same strategies that turn my business into a full-time income with part-time hours, so if that interests you, definitely subscribe. Once again, thank you guys so much for being involved here, and as always from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I'll see you guys in the next video.